G'day guys, Glenn Twiddle here. Hey, I'm doing a little recording for my mate, Mr. Michael Choi. Now, let me just see if I can get this. Oh, this is going to work. That's pretty cool. There you go. You should be able to see me now. Well, alright, so, for me and my mate Michael, see, look at that, I'm on my own head. Look at that, isn't that pretty cool? Okay, so I'm just going to hide up in the corner here. While I do this recording that Michael asked me to do, I went and did a training session, because Michael and his crew hang out with us. They do some stuff with little old me. I'm honoured to say that I call, that Michael's been to a few of my events, and he subscribes, I suppose, to the outrageous way that we do some of our ideas, some of our marketing. We think very similarly with regards to attention-getting marketing. Michael calls it edge, among other things. I love his style, and I'm honoured that Michael asked me to send this through to you guys. So what he wanted me to go through was a particular strategy that we went on, because I want to get straight down into it. So we don't have time for, you know, sometimes speakers, they do these big elaborate stories that'll get you to listen to them. And sometimes those stories take 15 minutes. We don't have time to get to that. So what I wanted to do is substitute for that 15 minutes and say, hey, if Michael Choi, if Matt Steinway, if some of the #1 agents in the country listen to what I'm suggesting, then it might be worth you sitting up for 10, 15 minutes and hearing out this strategy. So there's Matt Steinway saying, Glenn knows what he's talking about. So what this is based on is really this principle, is that you don't get any more money for inventing fire. You know, you don't get any extra pay. No one at the bank says to you, now this check that you're depositing, did you get it from original thought, or did you copy off something that's already working for someone else? And if you thought of it from scratch, we'll give you a bonus 20% in revenue, in income. They don't say that. You know, so the last thing on the world, well, the last thing in the world you want to be is this guy here. You know, you don't want to be the competitor who doesn't know this stuff. But you know what? Now, I couldn't find a better photo than this, so forgive me. It's a check. And metaphor, guys. Spot the metaphor. Don't come up with this stuff yourself. See, to be me, you have to study 5,000 hours of marketing, copywriting, and all these, every real estate trainer on the planet, plus many of the marketing trainers from outside of the real estate industry. So it's hard work and expensive to be this guy. You know, if you're on Michael Choi's side, you've already got a plethora of information of how Michael and his team do his business. What you want to be is this person copying off us. See, at school, we got in trouble for copying. In business, it'll make you rich. So, so these things that I'm talking about now, whilst they may seem like they're out of the box, these things we've proven to work multiple times in multiple people's businesses across the country. And so apologies, I'm in a t-shirt, but I'm here down and dirty getting to work for you guys. So this stuff's all proven. This may seem like it's a little bit out of the box, but only because no one's ever taught it to you. And only because many times what happens in many industries, and certainly our industry is no exception, is one of my mentors called it incestuous marketing. I mean, we get out of real estate school that only taught us how to be legal. They didn't teach us how to be good. And we look at what everyone else is doing, we copy off them, and just like, that's why he calls it incestuous marketing, because after a few generations of that, kind of just like real incest, we kind of get dumber and dumber. So now that I've offended anyone, who'd have thought you could weave incest into a training message anyway? That's how it was described to me. And it makes sense, doesn't it? That if we just copy off people who 9 times out of 10 are either brand new to the industry or about to leave because they're failing, why are we copying that? You know, we go back to what Earl Nightingale once said back in Ye Olde Worldy, in the absence of a valid model for success, take what the majority is doing and do the opposite and you'll be on the right track. And he's right. So just because this is out of the box, relatively, but look, this is also based on the premise that if you have to prospect, this is what to do. I hate prospecting. I think it's insane that everyone in this industry teaches us to prospect, when in my opinion, we should be teaching you how to market so people call you. You know, because at the moment, if you're sitting there making cold calls like this, we should be doing it to get contacts and not listings. Whereas there's a lot of people out there, and it was the way I was taught. They were taught, you prospect to go and get listings. Prospect, 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 prospect. We are the only industry that proclaims to be an expert at what we do, and yet makes cold calls and says, hey, you don't happen to need what it is I'm doing, do you? Think about it. You don't get cold called by any other expert. And yet we're trying to be experts, and yet on the same time we're making these begging, please let me give you an appraisal cold calls. It's just crazy. So whilst I do teach my guys that we want to formulate a system so that they call us and they say, hey, Michael, when can you pop round? We're finally ready to sell. If you don't have a marketing budget or some years in the game or a database or some experience or whatever, then yes, you might have to, in the short term, do some prospecting. But don't prospect to get listings. Your outcome here should not be to get a listing. Your outcome should be to get two things. Contact details for your database CRM. If you don't have one of them, just email me and I'll give you a couple of options. But you've got to have one. If you don't have one, this is crazy. Email me immediately if you don't yet have a database. So you get contact details for your database and implied permission or explicit permission to stay in touch. That should be what we're looking for, not a listing. If you get a listing now from someone you contact now, it's hard work. You should be smacking yourself upside the head saying, darn it, I wish I met that person 12 months ago. So that's what we're after. Contacts, not listings. Only a targeted hunting strategy. See, in my full programs, I talk about hunting, farming, fishing as ways to get business. I suppose the other way is going to the shops and buying your food. So you can imagine the quick version of that is farming is you plant a seed, you wait a certain incubation period, and then a listing comes out of it. Fishing is you dangle some bait that they want, they bite, the fish that are hungry, and they bite, and then that's fishing. And hunting is you go catch and kill. Going to the shops is going and buying your listing opportunities. And not many agents can afford to do that. I've got some strategies. I'm just going to turn off my phone here so I'm uninterrupted for you guys. I've got some strategies absolutely where I can buy you your listings for about $50 per listing. One of my guys right now is doing a cash giveaway and he's getting a 90% appraisal ratio. The problem is though, if you're paying a certain amount of money per head for your listings and they're not going to come for 4 or 5 years, what that means is, say it's $50 per lead that I can get you. Absolutely. $50 a lead, easy. And opt in, raise your hand. Yes, I'll have your information, Glenn, or whatever. Then if I got you 100 leads, that's $5,000 and not everyone's got that sort of coin. But if you have, look, understand that it's just as valid a strategy as hunting, farming and fishing or buying your food from the shops. That's the metaphor. So only a hunting strategy should be getting you listings now. The farmer can't plant his farm, farming strategy. You can't plant your seed now, look at the ground and go, why aren't you growing 2 days after you plant? So we want to be understanding that this is a kind of a farming / fishing strategy, not a hunting strategy. But of course, I do understand we do need to eat next month, the month after. So, for that reason, we need to get some hunting strategies as well. You need to get some catch and kill, but this is not a hunting strategy. This is prospect to get contacts, not listings. So if what we're after, remember our ideal outcome is not a listing, but it's somewhat we want contact details and implied permission to stay in touch. So when I role played this with Michael's crew, Michael said, hey, can you send me a copy of that for MrChoi.com? So this is why we're filming this for Michael. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a survey, and I'm going to give you this script. In fact, I will give Michael a download of just the script as well in audio format so you can put that on the site, MP3 to put on your site or whatever. But we're going to call up with a survey because here's the thing. If you call up with your traditional cold call, hi, it's Glenn Twiddle here. I'm just wondering if you wanted a bit of information. We'll put you on my database, kept you up to date with a bit of info about what's going on in the local area. Well, let me ask you the question. I've asked this a bunch of times. If you made 100 of those calls, hey, just want to keep you informed what's happening with prices, local area, blah, blah, real estate 101. How many email addresses do you think you'll get if you said that? Try it. Try and make 100 calls your way and see how many email addresses you get. Then say, hey, I'll SMS you any new listings that come on the market as well. Give us your mobile phone number and see how you go. I would guess you'll get 10 to 30. If you are a seriously nice person on the phone, then you'll get 10 to 30 email addresses or mobile phone numbers. If you are a sweetheart on the phone, if you're even half a bit of a salesman on the phone, you're going to get 5 out of 100. So yes, I will happily give you my email address because they think you're going to smash them with all your real estate crud. And you know what? They've got valid reason to think that because that's what historically has happened to them. So here's the script that we're going to go through. We're going to call them up and we're going to do a survey. And so the full script is there, downloadable, on Michael's site, the MP3. But here's the quick version. Hi, Michael. It's Glenn Twiddle here. Not sure if my name rings a bell. No, yes, maybe, whatever. Again, the reason we say not sure if my name rings a bell is because we are wanting to take their... If we say, hi, Michael, Glenn Twiddle here. How are you today? They're instantly going, oh, God, can you just go away? You don't care how... Because I've heard them say, people, you say, how are you today? You're expressing empathy that you really care about how their day crap they do. They do not think that. They think, telemarketer, go away, please. So by saying, hey, Glenn Twiddle here, not sure if my name rings a bell, it makes them think, yes, no, maybe. It makes them think something, anything other than go away. So, not sure if my name rings a bell. Yes, no, maybe. The reason for the call, Michael, is I'm doing some research for my next book. I'm a real estate author. I do a bunch of things around the property industry. I'm just doing some research for my next book, and we've got a prize. Insert a decent prize here. You know, we've got a prize of 2 limo tickets with fully catered and 2 tickets to the newest Cirque du Soleil show, or the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil, or Kiss are touring, or just some prize that's good. Now, you only buy it once. You might only buy it once every 6 months, because you're not saying how often you're giving away that prize. You're not saying this week we're giving away a prize. You know, so I've got a prize of, excuse me, whatever it is. Have you got 2 or 3 minutes just for a quick couple of questions for my research purposes? I promise it won't be any more than a couple of minutes. Cool? Now, if out of 10 people, less than 7 say yes, then either your prize is rubbish or your energy is rubbish. And I don't mean energy in a woo-woo weird sense. I mean, you know, you're coming across, good evening, Michael. You know, if you're coming across too salesy or too irky or too whatever, you know, then one of those 2 things is wrong. Either, you know, now if you call up and say, now, Michael, I'm doing some research for my next book. We've got a prize of, now wait for it, 10% off your next haircut. Have you got 2 or 3 minutes to take part in a couple of surveys? No one's pants are going to get lit on fire with 10% off a haircut. So that's the case in point. So the prize has got to be good enough that they'll answer just a couple of questions. So balance it out. But it can't be a car, because you can't afford to give away that. You know? So once we've got acceptance that they'll answer a few questions, here's what the questions are. Now, you're going to get some good results, because a bunch of my guys are already getting good results from this. So here's question 1. How long have you lived, because the records aren't always right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how long have you lived in the area? You know, either in the house you're in or in another house. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Now, understand, sidebar now, we're not role-playing anymore. This question is designed just to let them think they're in a real survey. Now, of course, there's some benefit in it, you know. You know that if they answer 5 years, it's a better answer than last week we settled on our new house. Because remember, this is prospecting for future listings. So if they say, yeah, we moved in last week, not as good an answer as, yeah, we've lived here for 10 years and Granny just died. You know. So, but really, question 1 is just a make them think they're in a real survey kind of scenario. So question 2, how long do you think your current house will suit the growing, changing needs of yourself and family, whatever the case may be? Would it be under 2 years? If you had to guess, would it be under 2 years, 2 to 5 years, or 5 years or more? Now, you don't have to do the A, B, or C, the under 2, 2 to 5, or 5 or more, but you can just leave it at, if you had to guess, how long would you think your current property would meet the growing, changing needs of yourself and family, whatever the case may be? You know, and then, but it does soften it if you say, so, you know, just my research purposes, would it be 0 to 2 years, sort of 2 to 5 or 5 or more? You know, if you had to guess. If they say, oh, I don't know. If you had to guess, what do you think? Whatever. That's the magic question, of course. So now instead of saying, hey, are you thinking of selling? Which, of course, 99 times out of 100, the answer's no. But that's what we're taught to say. Oh, you're not thinking of selling, are you? What sort of maniac thinks that you're going to be that lucky that you happen to call on the very day where they're thinking about selling, and yet before the time they've called the Michael Choi of your area, of their area? You know what I mean? What are the odds? What are the odds that once every 7 years you happen to make a cold call on the very hour between when they get the letter from the bank telling them they have to sell and you call? The odds are 1,000,000 to 1. So let's not base our question on that horrible, tiny little time frame. Let's say, how long do you think your current property will meet the growing changing needs of yourself? But again, remember, it's for research purposes. So if they say, well, actually, we're selling now, you can't just jump on them and say, well, am I the man for you? No, this is research, remember. So whatever they say, A, B, or C, whatever it is. Okay, question 3. Now, this is an important one. This is an important one to get right, because if you just say, question 3, do you know what your net wealth is? The answer is going to be, none of your damn business, Mr. Twiddle. So what the way you pre-frame question 3 is you say to them this, Mr. or Mrs. Research person, it's important that you don't answer this question with specifics, because that's none of my business. None of my business at all. What I'm just, for my research purposes, just after a yes or no. So again, remember, the number is not important, and frankly, it's none of my business. What you're doing is you're taking the "that's none of your business," Glenn, out of their vernacular by admitting it's none of your business. So you say, hey, now this next question, it's it's unique in that it's none of my business what specifically your number is. But can I ask yes or no for my research purposes? Do you know what your net wealth is? Meaning, do you know to some degree of accuracy how much you're worth? And now the answers to that are either yes or no. And if the answer is no, then you let them off the hook. You say, well, in our research, we found, don't feel bad or anything because you're in the majority. About 8 out of 10 people or more have no idea what they're worth. And so it's cool, and if they say yes, then you congratulate them. Well, I don't know if you know this, but you're in the top 20%, that less than 20% of people have any idea what their net wealth is. So congratulations. So that's question 3. Now you can see where this is angling, but you don't just jump in if they say no and say, well, I can tell you what your house is worth with a, wait for it, free appraisal. No. Just get the research. Remember, it's research. But yes, that's of course what you're angling at, but later, because we've got to get the contact details first. Question 4, what do you like best about living in your area? If you could say 1, 2, or 3 things, what would they be? Another one of those questions that just makes them feel like they're in a survey. So that's, I guess, the survey. Now, here's the magic. Actually, it's all magic, hey? We came up with it. It's all magic. And, okay, what are we saying? Okay, so after we've asked the question, we say, well, thanks for taking part in the survey. If you win the Cirque du Soleil prize, what's your mobile phone number? And I'll make sure I get that. I'll make sure I get that. Start again. You can see I haven't made 100 of these calls. My guys are making the calls. If you do, so after we said, what do you like the best living in the area, the beach, the whatever. Oh, cool. Look, thanks for taking part in my research. I really appreciate it. If I do use your story in the book, I'll make sure your answers, I'll make sure names are changed. I'm not mentioning names, I'm just mentioning trends. So thank you so much. If you do win the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil prize, what's your mobile phone number? Because I'll be SMSing you straight away if you've won. Blah. Now, let me ask you this, sidebar. If we made 100 calls, they've answered all the questions, they got to this stage, and you say, if you win the Michael Jackson, what's your mobile phone number? And I'll let you know straight away. How many of those mobile phone numbers do you think you're going to get? Well, look, it's 90 out of 100 at least. If you just say, hey, I'll keep you up to date with all your listings, how many are you going to get? You'll be lucky to get 5, So that's the first question. Great. Now, then you say, now, if you win one of the consolation prizes, we've got some meals for 2 at the local restaurant. We got this, we got that. We've got all these other prizes. If you win one of those, I'm not going to annoy you and SMS you or email or SMS you with all those. I'll email out the vouchers for those winners. What's your email address? So if you win one of those, you'll get blah, blah, blah. Now you're sitting there with contact details, with mobile phone, with whatever, and implied permission to stay in touch. By the way, everyone wins one of the consolation prizes. So you make sure you've got a restaurant that gives away something free. No questions asked. Some restaurants will just want some bums in the door, so give something away. And everyone wins something. Every child wins a prize. So that way, your first point of contact, a week or 2 weeks after you've made these calls, is emailing them something with no agenda. Just, hey, we haven't drawn the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil thing yet, but here's one of your consolation prizes. You were one of the winners for the consolation prizes. And please enjoy dinner for 2 down at the local blah, blah, blah restaurant. And make sure the restaurant donate that, not you. You don't pay for this. The restaurant pays because they want what you've got, which is customers. So that's the strategy. Then if you wanted to get cheeky, if they said no to the net wealth thing and you could see they were maybe embarrassed or something, or if you just wanted to get cheeky, now that you've got what you want, you could say, you mentioned before that you didn't know what your net wealth was. And whilst, look, I'm so busy writing this book and I'm doing all sorts of stuff. One of your neighbours actually just requested a report. They are $100 odd online to buy, but because we get them in bulk, I've got a spare one with properties around your place that are relatively similar. Might give you a bit of an idea what your place is worth. Do you want me to drop one of those things either in the mail or do you want me to pop it round on the way home from work or something? Because it's free, because I get them in bulk, so I've got a spare one. Do you want one of those? Best thing RP Data ever did is started charging for what we can give away. So you could do that. Then you get to put a face to the name. If you do drop it off on the way home from work, you can put a face to the name. You can meet the person, shake the hand, give the gift, get the hell out of there, and then put them in your database for further follow-up contact. And, of course, the use of your follow-up multimedia, multi-step contact management system is, of course, the another day. And Michael Choi's got a bunch of resources. So that's kind of the strategy for getting the contact details. Then you can play after. Remember, offer the prize, ask for permission, Is it okay if you ask a few questions and someone's going to win X and, whatever? Have you got 2 or 3 minutes just to answer a few questions? Yes, great. Ask the 4 questions, then say, great. Now, if you win the prize, what's your mobile phone number? I'll be calling you. If you win the consolation prizes, I'm not going to annoy you on the phone, but what's your email address? I'll email you out a voucher. Great. By the way, you mentioned that you didn't know what your net wealth was. I've got a sales report. One of your neighbors ordered one. We get them in bulk, so I can give you one for free. Do you want me to pop one around? That's the strategy. Can take literally minutes at a time. You make 20, 30, 40 of those calls a day. I promise you, over the course of the next year, you are going to have a farm where you're planting seeds every day, and you're going to have some harvests in the future, especially if you do the face-to-face drop-off of the actual reports. So that's the deal. If you sort of looked at 25 new, clean, good, full contacts in a week with a weekly report, 2 face-to-faces booked, so 2 definite drop-off a report to them kind of thing, either per day if you wanted to really hook in, 2 per week, whatever you wanted to do, 1 listing per week I would suggest would be good. Now what I say is if you're listening to this as far as prospecting is concerned, then you need listings. See, if you've already got 20 or 30, you're probably not watching a prospecting video because you've figured out, like a bunch of my clients have, how to get people to call you 20 times a month saying, hey, Glenn, when can you pop round? That's what we want. So if you're watching this and hence need listings, what I say for now, this is just my advice. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying quality schmolity. Just get some listings, get some signs up, get some boards up. One of my friends, Michael Choi, $1 million agent, said to me, Glenn, you know what the best way to get listings is? It's to get listings. What that means is if you've got a lot of listings, you're going to get a lot more. If you've got boards everywhere, signboards everywhere, if you're all over realestate.com, you're perceived to be everywhere, then you will eventually be everywhere because you'll be top of mind awareness in your target market's area. So we've got a bunch of different ways to do that, but getting lots of listings is certainly one of them. So for the early stages of any career, quality schmolity. All right. So that's it. I'm done now. If you're done with me, you can go away. A lot of people, whenever I give these gifts out, say, Glenn, how can we get more? How can we get more? So if you're done being taught, you can go. Anyone who wants to find out more, you can stay because I certainly, I'm not going to say that you have to watch any sales pitch. And this isn't a sales pitch. This is sort of saying people always email me after these things when I give away some cool strategies and they say, hey, Glenn, how can we get more? So if you want a little offer that I wanted to make for Michael's people that he actually emailed out to his list not so long back, which was awesome of him. We did an event recently that Michael actually flew up to, said it was one of the best events he ever went to. That was the lineup. There was me and Matt Steinway, Chris Gilmore, Aaron Shiner, Michael Spillane. Eric Thomas was our headliner, the most watched speaker in the world. Google how bad do you want it and you'll see the #1 professional development video in the world. We had a big event, 2 days, and we recorded it, of course. We recently we're selling it. It's at Be Phenomenal for $600 odd, bephenomenal.com.au. But if you use the code Mr. Choi, MRCHOI, it'll knock $400 off the price. So it'll bring it down to just $190 or something. It's 100 something dollars. So it'll be cheap as. It'll just help us cover some expenses of recording it. And then email me. So now none of these bonuses are on the website. So you go to bephenomenal.com.au. You grab it, use the code Mr. Choi, then email me personally at Glenn Twiddle. I'll give you the email at the end, and I'll give you all these bonuses. So first off, you get 10 DVDs and 10 audio CDs of the same thing, right? So it's either you get both the video and the audio, whatever your preference is. So if you like audio, give the DVDs to a friend in your office, or if you like the DVDs, give the audios to your friend and split the cost, whatever. You get the full seminar on both audio and video. Sebastian Ross here, one of my guys, he says, following Be Phenomenal, my numbers have increased. Sebastian was in Go Gecko up until December 2012, so 12 months ago. And in the last 12 months, in May 2013, so May just gone, he did $117,000 and he's had multiple 6-figure months since. So he's gone from earning 50 grand a year based on what we've taught him to earning, and he joined my coaching program, came to Be Phenomenal, and in fact, when you get the recordings, you'll see him on stage telling this story. So he was awesome. So he's there. You're going to get again for free an hour or so training of one of my systems that they called it Market Domination Blueprint and Advanced Marketing Sessions. See, I didn't call it that. I called it my Soul Flyer strategy. But I tell you, it really does kick some butt. So I'm going to give you all this stuff. We've got Matt Steinwade's CMA prospecting system, Chris's pre-listing kit system, Aaron's a little trail of Aaron. So after you get someone to do one of those appraisals, Aaron has got a full trail of what to do on day 1, what to do on day 5, what to do all out to day 160, I think it is. A full multimedia, multi-step trail. I'll give you that. It's all there. Tom has got some awesome scripts and dialogues, and I'll also give you a copy of a full day that me, Chris Gilmore, Matt Steinwade, and the great man John McGrath did, and I'll throw that all in as well, just because I'm in awe of Michael Choi. He's a great guy, great agent. He's a great bloke. We've shared some bourbons, and I just want to make sure that he looks like a superstar in your eyes by me completely over-delivering. So there's 2 full days in the Be Phenomenal event. There's another 1 full day in the Heavy Artillery 2 event. There's another hour or so of me in the Market Dominating Blueprint and all that cool stuff. So I promise you, if you don't, I will buy this back off you for $400 if you don't think it's worth $190 or whatever it is that brings it down. So bephenomenal.com.au. You have to scroll right down to the bottom of the website and find the links to the full system, the full recordings, and then use the code Mr. Choi, one word, MRCHOI. Use that code in the discount box. It'll knock it down to $197. Email me for your bonuses, and I'll give you all those goodies. So yeah, that's me, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Michael, for allowing me this guest spot on your website. I'm a massive fan, as you know, and it's an honor that you have allowed your team to spend time with me and learn some of these principles for your guys. Given that they've got a remarkable coach in you at the helm, mate, it's a sign of what a good coach you are to bring in coaches like me. And it was also great to have you come and talk to my crew those times as well on stages with us. So, and that certainly won't be the last time, Michael. You know, I'm looking forward to doing the same thing and have you at Be Phenomenal 2 in 2014 with Michael on the stage if he will honour me with his presence. So, guys, Glenn Twiddle signing off. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that's been of some help. Any questions, talk to Michael, find me. We're not hard to find. And any comments and feedback, put them on Facebook, shoot me an email, whatever the case may be. Glenn Twiddle signing off. Bye for now.